flower folks, welcome to Sheer Inspirations. In today's video, we are going to be discussing pest problems in your cutting garden. So a couple of things I want to point out before I begin discussing the problems is it's going to vary where you are located in the country and in the world to exactly know what kind of pest problems you have in a active cutting garden. They are not all created equal. They're not going to all respond to the same thing, and you would have to learn with, as a depending on if you're growing annuals or perennials in a season, to see what attacks what plant when, and so on and so forth. Sometimes you're just better off leaving them alone and the plants recover just fine. Other times the damage is so big that you need to do something about it, otherwise the crop that you worked so hard for is then eaten by the pest. So I'm going to discuss the few that I have here in the high desert of Southern California. The one other thing I want to mention is stay away from plants that require you to sing poetry to them every night. What I mean by that is stay away from plants that are prone to diseases and pests and so on and so forth, because you're going to spend so much time babying them versus putting down perennials or growing annuals that aren't going to have those problems. So you can actually enjoy the fruit of your labor versus just continuing to struggle in the garden, specifically in the cutting garden, since I'm a cut flower garden channel and everything about cutting gardens I discuss here. So my number one, and I guess the most simplest one, is the aphid problem. I have a bunch of roses. If you've seen my tours of my garden and so on and so forth, you've probably seen me show you all the roses that I have. So of course, aphids are a commonality. They, as soon as late spring arrives, a little bit warmer temperatures arrive, they come. And I never have to do anything about them. As soon as they come, the ladybugs follow. So I don't ever have to have the problem so bad and so big to where I have to spray something or so on and so forth. Now, if you do have aphids and the ladybugs are not coming in, you can purchase the ladybugs at Home Depot or Lowe's, or I believe online as well, and keep them in the fridge overnight and then release them the next day on your roses. They're not going to fly away. That's what you do. You keep them in a cool temperature, and then they're hungry, they work their appetite, and they eat like hungry teenagers. So that's what takes care of aphids. That is a very common problem with roses. Now, the second big problem that I see is the spider mites and your gnats and your mosquitoes. I live on a lake, and anytime there's standing water, there's going to be pests around it. The natural control for that is dragonflies. I'm not certain if you can purchase hatching eggs of those. However, by nature, if you are by the water, you're going to have dragonflies, and they are your best friends. I personally love them. I have them in a couple of different colors. They come around, and as soon as the mites come, the gnats come, the mosquitoes come, they come as well. And I don't have to do anything about it as far as spraying anything or whatever else. So it follows. If you are in an area where you live by the water and you have those problems, dragonflies are the way to go, if you can acquire them somehow. I'm not sure if you can or not. Now, another one is the powdery mildew, as well as spider mites. Now, I haven't had a chance to use this as of yet, but the previous owner who lived in the house said that there were spider mites on roses. I personally have not seen any. What this is you spray in a I believe, 2 fluid ounces in a quart of water, and you spray that. I have not used it as of yet because I have not had the problems that are defined here. However, if you do This does work very well. I have seen people online on Facebook telling me that if you have powdery mildew, I live in a very dry area, so powdery mildew is not necessarily an issue for me. Spider mites, again, the dragonflies eat them, so those aren't really a problem either, but this works really great. I've seen a lot of good reviews for this, so I will also leave a link below to purchase this on Amazon. Now, the third and the most, I guess, the worst problem that I have in my garden are the caterpillars of the regular, your moth, the regular, I believe winter moth is called, and those are green, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch long caterpillars, and they are very destructive. So if you can see this hosta right here, this is caterpillar damage, that particular caterpillar. And what they would do is they would come out at night and eat certain plants. They don't eat everything, like the irises are fine. They try and go after, say, calendula or like edible flowers. Definitely hosta is their thing. I haven't seen them bother my dahlias, but they do go after sunflowers. I've seen them chop up zinnias, and this is one of those damages that I have to do something about, otherwise they're just going to chop up and eat my garden, and I'm not going to have anything left. So the way I deal with it is BT, this guy right here. And what this does is, it's a bacteria that 2 tablespoons of this in a gallon of water in this sprayer, and I spray this all around my garden. Everywhere there's damage and wherever there's no damage, I still spray it. And what this does is, it's not poisoning them. It's a bacteria that they eat, and it signals their brain to think that they are full, and they no longer eat, and they starve. Now, I am a believer to not poison the ecosystem, because say that the bird eats the worm, now the bird's got poison in it, and then whatever eats the bird has poison in it. I understand that the level of poison is very little, but it's still, I personally don't enjoy poisoning the ecosystem in any way, shape, or form. This particular thing is a heaven sent for me, and the problem for me disappears overnight. If you have the same problem where you got these little boogers eating up your leaves of your hostas or your sunflowers or lilies, or again certain plants that you're seeing cut damage to, then go ahead and spray this. Something to keep in mind is, if you have a sprinkler system to water the garden thoroughly, spray the BT with water and shut your water off for the night if you are on the auto sprayers like I am, because you don't want the BT spray to get washed off. You want the caterpillars to come out, those green caterpillars that are eating. You want to spray at night or in the evening and shut off your water supply. You want them to come out and eat again, and that would be their last meal. And then the next day you can go on and continue with your auto timers and so on and so forth. But if you have a butterfly weed plant, you can avoid spraying BT, as it's only effective on all gypsy moths and leaf-eating worms and caterpillar larvae, basically. So I do have a Saving the Monarch butterfly plant, the butterfly weed, the only one that the monarch butterfly would eat, and I do not spray on that particular plant. That's just how I avoid having my entire garden eaten by certain kinds of caterpillars. You know, understanding that there's certain pests that you can handle, other pests that you just leave alone, and the plants. I have read online that a lot of folks, they just fertilize and water and the plants are able to survive just fine. I have not had that happen with me. They were eating my sunflower plants, and they were eating them so fast that one day I have a plant and the next day the entire plant's gone. So I need to do something about it. Otherwise, I'm just growing the garden for them to eat, which is not acceptable. So those are the 3 major problems that I have seen here. I have encountered. Another one that is worthy of mentioning is leaf miners. When we're in the heart of summer, 95, 100 degrees, I do see some leaf miner damage on my hollyhocks and certain Rebecchias, black-eyed Susans, but all I do is just take the leaves off and burn them. I don't compost those, and then the problem goes away, at least for that season. Again, nothing needs to be sprayed or anything of that sort. I have read that they have a natural predator, but of course I can't remember the name of that natural predator now for the leaf miners, but it's not to a place where I need to be spraying things or getting rid of it. The only thing that I do religiously use is this guy. And of course, I'll leave the link below for you guys to purchase if you would like. I do want to hear what part of the country you're in and what are your pest problems, and maybe I can help. And I will see you in the next video, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. Have a good one. Bye.